Ma'am, I was working nearby and noticed the notice by your porch. Have you been trying to keep all this up yourself?
I still try every day, but my hip gives out before I get very far.
That garden looks like it meant a lot to you.
My husband planted most of these flowers. I just haven't been able to keep up since he passed.
Then let's make sure they're cared for the way he would have wanted.
He would have smiled if he could see that.
I didn't expect a neglected flower bed beside a weathered home to lead me to someone who had once spent decades caring for people when they were at their most vulnerable. The property belonged to 94-year-old Eleanor Brooks, a retired registered nurse who worked in hospitals and long-term care facilities for more than 45 years. Throughout her career, Eleanor cared for thousands of patients, comforted families during difficult moments, trained younger nurses, and became known for treating every patient with kindness and dignity. She received multiple healthcare service awards and was respected throughout her community for her dedication to helping others. Today, however, she was the one struggling. As I looked around the property, I noticed overgrown flower beds, weeds spreading through landscaped areas, and sections of the yard that had become increasingly difficult to maintain. What had once clearly been a beautiful garden was slowly being overtaken by vegetation. A recent city property maintenance notice had already been delivered, warning that additional penalties could follow if the yard was not brought under control. When Eleanor eventually stepped outside, the reason quickly became obvious. Several years earlier, a serious fall resulted in a fractured hip that never fully recovered. She now relied on a walker to move safely around the property. Uneven ground, steps, and long periods of standing had become significant challenges. Tasks that once took an afternoon could now leave her exhausted for days. Her husband had passed away more than a decade ago. Her daughter lived several states away and could only visit occasionally. Most days, Eleanor managed entirely on her own. The condition of the yard was not caused by a lack of pride or effort. It was caused by age, physical limitations, and the reality of living alone at 94 years old. As we talked, Eleanor admitted that receiving city notices felt discouraging. For decades, she had cared for complete strangers during some of the most difficult moments of their lives. She had spent her career helping people recover, heal, and find comfort. Yet now she was facing a problem she could no longer physically solve by herself. Standing there, I could not ignore the contrast. This was a woman who dedicated nearly half a century to caring for others. Yet at 94 years old, she was facing fines because her body could no longer keep up with maintaining the property she loved. Sometimes the people who spend their lives helping others become the very people who need help the most. Do you think elderly people who spent their lives caring for their communities deserve more support as they age?